Why didn't anybody tell me that pecan pie is so good? So bomb. By the way, guys, I know there's a lot of video requests, and I'm going to get to them. I have a long laundry list of video ideas, and it's insane because it's a lot of videos. I'm just like, oh, I should make a video on this. Oh, what about that? What about that? Oh, this, that. So many video ideas. But today, I'm going to talk about self-image. I'm going to talk about self-identity, the frame in which you view yourself. Do you have a positive self-identity? Do you have a negative self-identity? Is your self-identity distorted? These play a huge role in how, in your thought process, the way you speak, and the actions that you do. Some of us may have a distorted self-image, like take people with food disorders and things like that. Someone can be very skinny, but they see themselves as fat. Like they literally see themselves as fat. And this is a distorted self-image, and thus, what are their actions because they think that they're fat, right? They try to throw up the food and lose as much weight as possible. I think it's called bulimia or something along those lines. Let me know in the comment section. But it's these things, and even in the book Psycho-Cybernetics, Maltz talks about, you know, people that get plastic surgery on their faces, and the surgery is successful and it's a great surgery, but when the person, you know, gets around family and friends, you know, the family and friends are like, oh wow, you look amazing, wow, you look so different, oh my god, like wow, like your nose, wow, like your eyebrows, oh wow, like your eyes, oh this, that, and the third. But the person still sees themselves as their old self, right? That old self is still there, and they think, oh, you know, I see no difference in the surgery, or I see, you know, I look relatively the same. That's what was going through their thought process, and this is their self-image of looking that certain type of way. Another caveat with self-image is it brings us a degree of comfort, and here's what I mean. And you have to understand that comfort is a big driver, right? A lot, you know, it's human nature to want to conserve energy, and not do more than necessary. So with comfort, if you have your self-image provides comfort in that you don't have to do difficult things to change it. Write that down, write that down! You know, you don't have to venture into the unknown because you think that you're already this certain way. So take a timid person, and you know, a part of them wants to be good at socializing and communication, but they're like, oh, this is just how I am. I'm just a timid person. Like they identify as a timid person, and this is the frame in which they view themselves. Now, with this frame of being timid, their words are going to be timid, their body language is going to be timid, and their decisions aren't going to be decisive, right? They're going to be here and there, going to change their mind a lot because of that self-image. Now, a part of them feels comfortable being timid because, you know, maybe they don't have to do uncomfortable things. And with this comfort, a part of them latches onto this self-image subconsciously, even though maybe consciously they want to be more charismatic, more better communication. The other part of them is like, why? You know, we're safe here. We're nice and timid. Why do that presentation? Why talk to this stranger? Why network with this person? Let's just stay timid, right? That's the subconscious programming that's going on. You have to think of, with self-image, you have to think of it as a thermometer. This is a very popular analogy that's used in the self-help field. And what I mean by that is you consciously and subconsciously regulate your self-image. So, for example, if somebody views themselves as an overachiever and they start underachieving, they're going to do things to kind of get back to that overachiever way they view themselves, and vice versa. Somebody that's underachieving, and then maybe they start picking up the pace. They start doing some things in life, and then, you know, that old self creeps in, and it's like, hey, come back to comfort. You know, you don't really need to be doing this, and that nature. Now, this is where we get into self-sabotage, and I spoke about self-sabotage before. And with self-sabotage, it's kind of two things. So consciously, you want a certain goal. For example, take the New Year's resolutioners. You know, they're gonna go to the gym, and they're gonna this is the 2022. This is gonna be the year where they work out every single day, and they ain't missing not one session, right? Consciously, they want to do that. Now, there's a whole other thing with goal setting, and that's kind of, you kind of want to be more practical with it, but let's just say that's the case. Consciously, they want to look good, flex for the gram, six-pack abs by the summertime, right? And then subconsciously, their current identity, or that person wants that to be their old identity, but subconsciously, their old identity is still there, and there's still comfort in being a bit out of shape. Their old identity also sees this new exercise routine, this new schedule of working out as uncomfortable. It's new and it's different. And when the subconscious, sees things as a little new and different, it's a little threatening. You have to understand this. And in the beginning, new habits feel uncomfortable as hell, and that's by design, right? It's what's that quote? That's not a bug, it's a feature. Exactly. It's not a bug, it's a feature. Always remember this. When you start something new, and the new habit is just not smooth sailing and things like that, it's supposed to be like that. And it's very easy, and this is why people fall off in the beginning of things, and they do things for like 30 days and they stop. It's because it's slightly uncomfortable. It's not subconscious. It's not really an ingrained habit, and there's not enough buy-in in that person to make that a habit. So that's where this tug of war is going on. It's the conscious mind that wants the goal, and it's the subconscious mind, kind of the more emotional side, that wants things to kind of stay how they are. And if you know a thing or two about the subconscious mind, it's more powerful, and it dictates most of your actions. So if we want change, we need to influence not the conscious mind, really. Conscious mind kind of has the buy-in already. It's the subconscious mind. Real change happens when you change the self-image and the character fundamentally, right? Self-image, self-identity, character, I'm going to use that synonymously. Real change happens when you change that person fundamentally, and that person has to persist through time. For example, somebody that is wanting to start a business, you have to be the business owner, right? You have to have the characteristics, the inner game of a business owner, right? Somebody that's productive, somebody that's cogent in their field, somebody that is driven, somebody that asks the right questions, hires well, has technical skills and soft skills. It's a mixed bag of these things. And as you continually stick to habits of that self-image, as you stick to those habits through time, that's when the subconscious kind of falls in line. That's when the subconscious makes things second nature. That's when things become comfortable. That's when you have less inner resistance and inner fighting, right? If we take the business owner example, somebody that has complete buy-in of being a business owner, the way they talk about their services is going to be different. The way what they do in their free time is going to be different. The information they take is going to be different, and things like that. And when you're trying to shift into this new person, your old self is going to subconsciously come back up, right? And it's going to use ego defense mechanisms, things like distraction, denial, rationalization, victim mindset. All these can pop up. And again, like I always preach on my channel, awareness is key. Awareness. Awareness changes the game. Think of addictions. And this is so cool when I learned about this. I think this was Leo Gora. I think I learned it in one of his videos. This is very eye-opening. In one of his videos, this is a side tangent, by the way, he talked about how addictions can be stopped straight at the moment, like immediately, when you bring awareness to the addiction, right? So somebody trying to quit their weed habit, for example, the second or the minute they start, being consciously aware of them smoking, inhaling, and exhaling the weed, right? The moment they start being consciously aware of this, like, okay, I'm inhaling and exhaling the weed right now.
Weed.
And they become aware of that, it has less of a pull because consciousness is brought in to the automatic habit, right? If it's an automatic habit, that means you're doing it unconsciously. So consciousness is what breaks that habit, if that makes sense. You gotta understand that. So these ego defense mechanisms, that you're used to doing to maintain your old self, you bring consciousness to them, and they become less powerful. That old adage that you are your worst enemy is so true. And I'm not a saint. I'm not perfect at this either. Like, there are some things that, you know, I'm trying to make a change, and like subconsciously, like, it's like this something tugging me back. It's like, wait, no, Jem, not yet. Like, what about you know, that's a little out there. Like, you know, what if this goes bad and then this goes bad? Like, it's all of these things. And another thing with making fundamental change is associating your old self with pain. So this can also help prevent kind of that old self creeping back up. Pain is a huge motivator for change. I talked about this in part 12 of Understanding People. This is in human nature, and a bunch of other animals as well. Pain is what creates change. So if you can associate past self with pain, maybe certain circumstances you've experienced because of your past self, or your current self, if you can associate certain degrees of pain to it, it can make a big difference. Let me give you a real life example. If you're familiar with wrestling, there's this wrestler named Shawn Michaels. He's retired now, but he was a great wrestler in his time. If you look at Shawn's wrestling career, it has like two polar opposites. Like, if you cut his career in half, it's like two polar opposites. In the beginning, Shawn was in the, you know, kind of rising into the industry, and people were liking him, fans were loving him, and things like that. And he fell into, you know, drug abuse, you know, and that was a big thing. That was how he coped with, you know, the stresses of the wrestling industry, the traveling, the injuries, people he didn't like, people that didn't like him, media and things like that. He used drugs to cope with all of that. And he'd have this on and off, back and forth. He tried to change, and then he'd fall back into it and things like that. And then in his first retirement, because of a back injury, he fell into, you know, alcohol, and the drug issue continued. Now, the pain of the change didn't happen until right before he returned to wrestling. He was at home, and you know, he was drugged out. I think he was like super drowsy or something. He was like in a bad state, and his son was in the room, and his son was like to his mom, was speaking to the mom. He was like, "Dad is tired," and right when the son said that, it clicked in his mind that his son's now kind of old enough to tell that, you know, his dad isn't right. The pain of that realization made Shawn not go back to drugs ever again. He found religion. You know, I think he found religion a little before that, but he stuck to religion. He returned back to, you know, wrestling, and like the second half of his career was completely different. So that was a mini tangent, but it shows you the power of what you associate pain with, right? Not your new self, because your new self is going to attract the things you want. It's your current or old self that is really the painful. So as you become your new self, you have a new comfort zone, right? And you can attract the things you truly want. Let's take the timid person. As they socialize, as they just go out their comfort zone, this becomes a new comfort zone. This becomes a new comfort zone. They can talk to strangers. They can talk to coworkers. They can talk to any family member. They can talk to people they're attracted to. They can go to wherever and just communicate and talk, because their new self-image is, I'm a great communicator. And this came through habit. Yeah, guys, this is the whole thing with, you know, with self-identity and self-image. And you have to be careful how your emotions trick you to remaining the same, because that's what, again, subconsciously happens to keep you the same. It's emotions, it's fear, it's all of these things and these defense mechanisms to kind of keep you where you are at. And this is why you see so many people just stuck, right? They're unconscious about what's going on. Extremely. And if you're watching this channel, honestly, I think you're above the fray, and I commend you for doing so. And it's one thing to just watch things, it's also another thing to apply it. Lastly, rationality is important. When those emotions come up, awareness helps you connect rationality into it. You can say these are temporary emotions that are going on, and you can take measures to overcome it. Real and lasting change comes from a real and lasting identity. And guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe, all that stuff. If you want to book a one-on-one, use the link below. I am doing them for like probably a couple weeks. I'm probably gonna take a break, and I'll probably come back late January or early February with them. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Take care of yourselves. Have a good one. Peace.